Have you ever heard a case so disturbing, so calculated, that you think there is absolutely no way it could ever be undone? That's exactly how people felt about the murder of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. A child gone, a stepmother at the center of it all, and a jury that found her guilty, and a life sentence that felt final. But now, that conviction is gone. Not because of new evidence, not because anyone proved she didn't do it, but because of one decision inside that courtroom that never should have happened. A juror who should not have been there. And because of that, this entire case may now be tried all over again. So today we're breaking down what happened to Gannon, what the jury decided, and how one legal error just changed everything. Okay, before we get into this, I do want to say this video is based on court records, trial proceedings, and reporting out of Colorado at the time, along with what's come out in the appellate decision. This is also based on publicly available court proceedings and official filings. And if you followed this case when it was happening, you already know this one was a lot. Not just legally, but emotionally. At the center of this case is Letecia Stauch, the stepmother of 11-year-old Gannon Stauch. This case began in January of 2020 in Colorado Springs. And at first, it was reported as a missing child case, but very quickly, that narrative started to fall apart. Gannon was reported missing, and almost immediately, the story started changing. There was talk of a fire incident, then Gannon supposedly ran away. Then there were suggestions of abduction, but based on what was presented during trial, these versions didn't line up. Not in the details, not in the timeline, not in reality. At some point, it stopped sounding like confusion and started sounding like someone trying to keep up with their own story. As investigators began digging deeper, they uncovered evidence that pointed in a very different direction. According to investigators and court filings, this included surveillance footage, vehicle rentals, and travel across state lines. And eventually, Gannon's body was found in Florida, thousands of miles away from home. That moment marked a shift from a missing child case to a homicide investigation. When this case went to trial, the defense argued not guilty by reason of insanity, meaning the claim was not that the act didn't occur, but that she was not mentally responsible at the time. According to expert testimony presented during trial, this became a battle of psychological evaluations and competing opinions. And ultimately, the jury had to decide, who did they believe? This trial lasted for weeks. Based on what was presented during trial, the prosecution laid out a timeline supported by forensic evidence and digital data. The defense countered with mental health arguments and expert testimony. Witness after witness took the stand. And for those following along, this wasn't a simple case. It was layered, complicated, and emotionally heavy, especially for Gannon's family and friends. After weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated and returned a verdict, guilty on all major counts. And Letecia Stauch was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. At that point, it felt final. Now, everything has changed. According to the appellate court's ruling, the conviction has been overturned, not because of new evidence, but because of a juror issue.
They ruled that the court made an error by not dismissing a juror who had a relative that worked in the prosecuting attorney's office.
One juror had a connection to the prosecutor's office. The defense challenged that juror, but the judge denied that request, and that juror remained and participated in deliberations. In the appellate decision, the court found that this violated the defendant's right to an impartial jury. And when that right was violated, the entire verdict became compromised, even if the underlying evidence remained the same. So what happens now? She's not being released. She remains in custody, but the conviction itself has been vacated, which means the prosecution can either seek further review or retry the case from the beginning. A new jury, a new trial, the same core evidence. This is one of those moments where the law and emotion don't align cleanly, because legally, the system functioned as it was designed to. An impartial jury was not optional. It was a constitutional requirement. But emotionally, this is difficult, because this means Gannon's family may have to go through this entire process again. Hear the testimony again. Relive the evidence again. Sit through it all again. And that's the part that doesn't appear in legal rulings. The conviction may be gone, but this case is far from over. And that's it for this recap. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching and supporting me. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss any of my recaps. And remember, stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.